You ever notice that Korra ends her demonstration in the opening with a closed fist? It's interesting because punching motions definitely aren't really present in waterbending and airbender, or much in Korra, honestly. But we all know how Korra loves her punches.
Punch, punch, punch!
Whoa, that's kind of jarring. Usually we have a previously on Avatar, but here I guess the show just big dogs you and it's like, you know what happened, you're enraptured right now.
We can only hope that she survives her ordeal.
Survives? What? This is dangerous to her life? How are you gonna explain that one to Tenzin and Tonraq? We put her in the glowing water and she just kinda, you know...
And it's all your fault!
Does this imply Korra also took a week's break from watching? It kinda sucks that this whole thing is a microcosm of what's going on in Korra's time right now. If only the Avatar didn't help the clearly visually evil entity with their impulsive attitude, and if only Raava had used her words to communicate, this all could have been avoided. I won't say it's a contrived way to put a plot in motion, but man, I just really prefer it when my characters act reasonably and like real people and just don't hand the evil people the keys to the kingdom. It's interesting to note that these ancient airbenders can basically fly on their own. Like, yeah, they have a little cloud under them, but they're flying, and we never see a sky bison associated with them, which is probably the reason they figured out how to fly like this. But since they seemingly haven't domesticated the sky bison yet, it also means they don't have the sky bison's arrow to fashion their tattoos after, so we have this other different design that they use. And from the Zahir stuff later, this does sort of imply that airbenders lost their ability to fly like this after domesticating the sky bison, because that connection with their pets became an earthly attachment. Question: if Wan's been in the spirit wilds all this time, where did he get his supplies to have Moolah carry for him? Like, where did he get this bag?
The legends are true. Another lion turtle city.
It was a legend? I don't know, the Tino spirit thought you were kind of an idiot for not knowing about them. I would have taken his word at face value. He probably knows. He lives out here. He runs these streets. You can actually see the airbenders here chilling on the lion turtle's arm if you look closely.
There.
This seems highly impulsive. Like, what if you don't have the power from this piddly little tree, or the angle's wrong? I mean, you just die, right? Oh, he's going for it. It's kind of interesting that these airbenders were immediately frightened of Wan and then ran from him, but most people in the city don't even pay him any mind. I wonder what that's about. Honestly, if these guys live so harmoniously with the spirits, it seems like they don't have any problem or fear foraging like Wan's people did. It's interesting that they instantly fear a person. Is there beef among the humans from different lion turtles? Do the water lion turtle people hate the air lion turtle people? What if there's bad blood? What if there's a lion turtle war? Whoa, even these kids got tattoos. They look pretty young. They're just sick with the airbending though? Or maybe having your tattoos doesn't necessarily mean you're a master in this time. This is interesting. All the people we just saw get attacked by dark spirits were in noticeably airbender clothing and they all had tattoos. But in this shot, there's a ton of people in the background that just have full heads of hair, no tattoos, and different clothes. Are the air nomads only a part of this lion turtle's population? Are there just other peoples that live here too?
I'm lurking and I'm stalking when you least expect it.
Be gone!
What do you mean, be gone? Shouldn't you be like, come here, you son of a bitch?
How are you feeling since our split, Raava? I've never been better.
Well, I guess Vaatu just straight up said it, so let's get into it. Why does Vaatu thrive when they're apart, but Raava gets smaller and weaker? Are they not opposite and equal forces? What is the force that is making Raava weaker? If the logic is that Vaatu's influence is growing in the world, and thus light is fading, shouldn't Vaatu be weaker by far? We're in the era of light, right? All the spirits are in nice mode by default. Raava's influence is obviously far greater than Vaatu's, but still for some reason he grows in power as she shrivels. I just genuinely don't know why. So Raava is only at her absolute peak when she's actively wrestling Vaatu, I assume for eternity, in perpetuity, but the spirits made it seem like, oh hell, we gotta get out of here, they're going at it. But anyway, so Raava is constantly attached to Vaatu, and that is the only time she can possibly eclipse his strength. As soon as they're apart, Vaatu grows stronger, inexplicably, despite the world definitely being Raava-coded. Got it, none of this makes internal sense, and we'll get even more into why that's the case later.
How did you become split from Vaatu?
Ask him.
I mean, yeah, I'll give Raava the gears for not communicating, but nah, man, this is on you. Look at him. He looks like the devil after he lost a fight to a pneumatic press.
I'd take it all back if I could.
It's too late for that. Now that Vaatu is free, he is turning other spirits dark.
And while we're at it, fuck it, let's talk about Raava. First of all, is anyone a little frightened of Raava's design as a concept? She's just this thing, she's this weird fucking thing with a human voice that has no human qualities whatsoever, no face, no readable emotions, nothing. Like, if you just look at her as she speaks, it's kinda scary. Second, I think spirits having such all-encompassing titles such as light and dark should not have human personalities. Raava having a personality always struck me as weird. She is a primal force of unknowable power. Wouldn't it be cooler if she was just that? But no, she's just like a high-strung, stressed-out lady. And Vaatu is this Saturday morning cartoon villain. He literally goes mwahaha at one point. It's the spirits that are just dudes thing turned up all the way to the max. I don't know, it just seems silly to me that these incredible ancient forces of nature that decide which state existence is going to be in even have the concept of communicating with humans. You know that thought experiment where if a lion could speak English, you still wouldn't be able to have a conversation with it? It feels something like that in my head.
No human has ever held two elements at the same time.
I'm not like other humans. I can learn to do it.
Perhaps.
I think this is my favorite lion turtle. He seems like a chill dude.
Ancient One, why would I do that for a human?
Raava calling the lion turtle Ancient One is really thought-provoking writing. Now, it could just be a term of respect. Lion turtles are also very old, clearly, and if they've both been around a while, you know, game gotta recognize game. But it does kind of imply that the lion turtles are even more ancient than Raava and Vaatu, which, I mean, I don't even have a frame of reference for how old that would be then. If they were around before light and dark, it's just a really cool line.
Why would I do that for a human? Especially one who's caused so much trouble.
Raava, we only have 2 episodes to do this plot, so we need you to be on board right now.
You may be right.
Thank you. And in return, I will help you restore balance to the world.
Okay, fucking okay. So once again, he just said it. So what? I'm not going to talk about it right now? What are you talking about balance? There's no balance implied here by any of the storytelling. What you are looking to achieve is Raava stopping Vaatu from having any influence on this world at all. How is that balance? Chill. There will be a better time to go on this rant.
What's this harmonic thing Vaatu was talking about?
Harmonic convergence. That is when Vaatu and I must battle for the fate of the world.
So you just kind of move along like a slug? Are you a slug?
The only way for me to give you the other element is to pass through your body and combine our energies.
It's nice that they set up the spirit-human fusion thing in the prior episode, so this whole rigmarole flows very nicely. Also, Moolah just chilling up top here.
If you and Vaatu have the same fight every 10,000 years, why isn't one of you destroyed the other?
He cannot destroy light any more than I can destroy darkness. One cannot exist without the other.
Correct. Okay, fuck it. I'm just doing it. So this whole idea of balance that this two-parter has is way not at all what the actual philosophy is. The show would have you believe that light must win, but that isn't what the messaging of what this is all visually based on is at all. The idea is that all things exist in equilibrium with one another. Two is one. Without one, the other cannot exist. Correct, Raava. Even opposites, opposing forces, when all they do is oppose one another, still have a piece of the other within themselves. That balance is what creates the world we experience. The beautiful dance of opposite forces. Push and pull, life and death, good and evil, yin and yang. But the way the show tackles this idea isn't in line with that thinking at all. It is good guy versus bad guy, and good guy must win. There is no balance there. If Raava is around and she won harmonic convergence, then the world is like this. If Vaatu wins harmonic convergence, the world will be dark and evil. There is no balance. There is one or the other. If Vaatu wasn't around, the world would stay exactly as it is. He had no influence on the world, and the world was balanced and in relative peace. It would have made sense if these two were in a constant battle and this is what their equilibrium spat out, this world we're experiencing, but that's not what it is. They're no longer battling and the world hasn't changed at all, except within 100 feet of Vaatu, meaning that he had absolutely no influence. It was all Raava. There was no balance. And that's fine. If you want to do a straight up good guy must prevail over evil story, great, I'm here for it. But don't take this imagery and hint at philosophy and tell me you're applying it to what I'm being shown when you're not.
This physical world is where humans come from. Spirits come from another realm. Over time, more and more spirits have drifted into this world. Humans have been forced apart.
Most people think they live in the only human city in the world.
Most humans think only of themselves.
Motherfucker, did you just condescend to me after you explained the ancient history of how spirits came to our world and took it over, basically? Penned us into these cramped cities? Oh, but we only think of ourselves. What the hell's your problem? What a weird message to try and fit in after that line.
Smells like smoke.
Humans are nearby.
Let's check it out.
You know what? I usually wouldn't be about this, but Raava just put me in a bad mood. Hell yeah, take our world back!
A spirit!
Okay, they did very cleverly have Raava just wordlessly rush through him after his earthbending a moment ago, so him having airbending here makes sense. And it is airbending, by the way, you can tell, which is important for a moment later in this scene.
I can't believe it. Juan?
Jaya!
Jaya or Chaya?
Jaya?
Jaya
Jaya!
or Chaya?
Jaya? Where's Yao? Did he come with you?
Yes, but sadly, he didn't make it.
I don't like what this implies, what with the burning stump back here and everything. Man, you may not notice it, but as Raava grows smaller, her design actually changes as well. The markings on her face become less intricate, she loses some tassels that used to hang off of her, and even the crown shape to her head. And the opposite is true with Vaatu as well. His features become even more pronounced and powerful looking.
The spirits are coming back!
Let's wipe them out this time!
Wipe them out, remember that? Can't say kill them all.
We'll burn down this whole forest if we have to!
Oh, you lost me, Jachaya. I was on your side for a minute there.
Get out of the forest, humans!
Motherfucker, this is the physical world! This is my forest, you three-toed son of a bitch! Never mind, I'm back on Team Human. Kinda hard to catch here, but you can see Vaatu's markings in the clouds after the lightning strike. That's cool. I like that. Oh no, the Tino Spirit! The art style even got to you! Honestly, though, this is probably the best design out of all of them, if you ask me.
Wipe them out!
Wipe them out? Can't say kill them all, that'd be messed up.
Stop, please!
Yeah, Juan, get him, and I'll fly all over the place. Very cool visual. I always really liked this one of Raava coming down from above, and I also gotta admit the proto-avatar state is another really cool idea. It's not quite perfect, and they're not permanently fused yet, so it operates on the same dangerous rules as all other spirit possession. Really, really cool idea.
He's controlling all 4 elements.
I mean, you're right, but I can't help but wonder, where did he get the water from?
You need to stop fighting now, before you destroy each other!
So does this moment mean that Raava's influence can change spirits back to their normal/light forms if she's strong enough, but she's only strong enough when she's battling Vaatu somehow? What are the rules?
What are the rules? What are the rules?
Yeah, get him, humans. You know what? Forget it. I hope every single one of you perishes from both sides. That's the only true balance this episode can achieve.
Raava.
I'm sorry, Juan.
Here, lay in this teapot. This isn't demeaning to you at all, weird deity carpet thing.
I'm sorry that we do not have much more time together.
Let's not give up before the battle's even begun. Who knows what will happen?
I really hope Vaatu doesn't have a baseball bat wrapped in barbed wire.
Thanks to our friend separating us, I think this time I may be rid of you once and for all.
Vaatu doesn't even have a solid understanding on how this shit works.
Even if I defeat Vaatu in this encounter, darkness will grow inside me until he emerges again. The same will hold true if Vaatu defeats me.
How the hell aren't you the curtain of pure evil? Shouldn't you be up on this stuff?
Haven't you heard the legends? I'm not a regular human anymore.
So this fight is pretty good, I think. It's sort of hard to conceptualize a fight between the Avatar and a weird blanket with octopus tentacles that can shoot Gallic guns. But for what it is, the animation, the music, I think it all hits pretty hard. It sucks that you can't really feel any of the hits Juan lands, because we don't really know if Vaatu takes damage, or if he even can. There's an effect on him for sure, but it's hard to tell if he's doing anything since it's healed instantly. Juan also seems a little too hardy, maybe. I can look the other way with him getting ragdolled around and dusting himself off, but these big Inception lasers, I feel like those should probably pack more of a punch. This one's not so bad because you can't tell if he got hit by the laser or maybe just the shockwave of it approaching him, but this one he gets squared up and it just doesn't really do anything to him. Still though, like I said, even with all my nitpicks and complaining, I do really actually like this fight. It's cool to see Juan be creative with all 4 elements. It's cool to see a bender of his caliber fight something that is on or above his level that isn't another bender. It's a really novel concept, and I think with the speed that's captured, the impact, the interesting ideas for angles and shots, this all adds up to be a really good fight.
It was I who broke through the divide that separated the plane of spirits from the material world.
Vaatu even talks some mad shit, shouting out his resume. I love it.
If I stay any longer, you will die.
It doesn't matter. If you leave me now, Vaatu will destroy everything. We have to finish this together.
And Juan at this point really does feel like a hero. His story has been abridged and montaged and what have you, but they still really do manage to make him feel like a legend. I wish we got one more episode with him to maybe flesh out this time period and him more than what they ended up doing. But with as little time as they used, I think what they achieved with Juan and characterizing him is pretty awesome. He goes from this good-hearted, rebellious, but somewhat short-sighted guy who's got his own interests front and center in his mind to a man who fights for the good of everyone at the cost of his own life if he has to. His good traits have only been amplified and his bad ones have been left behind, and I think that's a really effective way to write a hero when you're on a time budget.
Harmonic convergence is about to begin. The era of Raava is over.
You guys think there are benders on other planets? I'm telling you, aliens are a concept in this world. And honestly, if you want to be real, if the next series ever gets around to coming out, with it being set in nearly modern day, bending aliens or benders versus aliens isn't even all that crazy of an idea. It's hard to tell with Vaatu's tentacle thing over top of him, but Raava's markings do seem to be in the more powerful state she was in when she was bigger here, when she's possessing Juan. Now this whole thing, this blends nicely into another big point I want to make about these episodes. Juan leans back here and seemingly on instinct touches the harmonized spirit portals, which which somehow fuses Raava and himself permanently, with no ill effects. Is this completely and utterly out of nowhere? Yes. Is this a bad thing, if you ask me? No. I've heard the term explaining the magic used in reference to these episodes before. Did we really need an origin to the Avatar? Does this really make the world better? Or would it have been better if they just left it alone, left it a mystery? I do genuinely think leaving it an unexplored idea in the world would have been better. It is kind of akin to explaining a magic trick. You're really interested to learn how it's done, because wow, what an interesting concept. How did you do that? But once you know, the fun's over. You get the rush of knowing for a moment, but then you're like, oh, okay, and then there's not much to think about. I think the origin of the Avatar is like that. I didn't need this at all. But overanalyzing Avatar, the word Avatar literally means, listen man, I know what the word means. I don't think that saves it at all. Having it be shown to me makes the world a little less interesting. There's less intrigue. And I'm sure that's not the same for everyone. I know a ton of people love these episodes and this backstory. But for me, it just feels like the world gets smaller because of it, not bigger. Which brings me back around to Wan knowing to touch the spirit portal. I like that. Why did he do that? Why did he think to do that? Why did he seem to know to do that? I have no idea, and that's interesting. And maybe that's not a good thing from a story perspective, but it captures the mystery and wonder in a small way that I feel these episodes take away from the world. Wan seems to have some kind of energy bending moment here when he fuses with Raava, very similar to the light shooting out of Aang's eyes. Could be what Aang's lion turtle was referring to, but then again he says they bent the energy within themselves before the era of the Avatar, and these guys definitely up bending their element. He's probably referring to way before the Avatar, I suppose. After Vaatu was blasted away from Wan and Raava fusing, you can actually see he seems to drop to a less powerful state than he was in before. You can tell mostly from his crown and the markings on his belly.
We are bonded forever.
For all I have to say negative about Korra as a show and these episodes on their own, there is no way to subtract from this moment. This is as iconic as Korra gets. We are bonded forever, straight into the Avatar theme. It's perfect. What a moment. You know what? I'm playing it again.
We are bonded forever.
I wish the full, actual Avatar state fight with Vaatu was, let's be honest, much longer. It would have been cool to see him really get the upper hand and outclass him before trapping him, but what can you do? And I'm gonna complain about this again, like I did in the comics and like I did in the live-action videos. For some reason, in my brain, I want the force of nature's sphere to just be Aang's. And almost, honestly, just Aang's when he's fighting Ozai. It's such an incredible visual and representation of Aang's journey and struggle and power. I want that technique in that moment to just be immortalized and hung from the rafters. But unfortunately for me, the creators don't feel the same way. This one's better though. Since it's an instance of it from literally the first use of the Avatar state, it has a grandeur and status I can fuck with. The rest of them though, no.
This is your prison now.
Oh, okay, good thing that was there. It sure would be cool if either A, the character design allowed for Vaatu to be noticeably angry here and not just a floating evil towel, or B, the character of Vaatu was just a force of pure chaos and evil and didn't have to have a personality, is all I'm saying. Does it make sense for Wan to have instant control over the Avatar state? What is the lack of control in the Avatar state anyway? Is it not being able to enforce your own will over the past Avatars or Raavas? If that's the case, there are no past Avatars and Raava and him are turbo on the same page right now, so I guess it makes perfect sense.
The spirits must stop fighting with humans and return to their home in the spirit world. I will teach men to respect the spirits so that balance will be maintained.
Sorry about killing your human friends that one time.
Our time protecting mankind is over. We will no longer give humans the power of the elements.
Did the Lion Turtles have a summit or something? They're gods, they have omni knowledge, I'm just being a dick.
This is my mission. To use Raava's light spirit to guide the world toward peace.
And I think my final big problem with this origin of the Avatar universe, Raava being an influence on the Avatar. Did I like Aang as much as I did because Aang was a really likable guy? Or now, in retrospect, did I like a kid who was enhanced by Raava? Is Aang one of my favorite heroes in fiction because he himself rose to the challenge before him because of his own inner strength and his strength of character? Probably not now. Raava is literally the spirit of light and goodness and peace. All positive character traits rolled up into one. Would Aang have been the Aang we all know and love without Raava? After seeing this, I don't know anymore, but probably not. And I think that really steals some of the magic of Aang's journey out from under him, and that makes me really sad. This battlefield, of course, bears a striking resemblance to an area Zuko wandered through, and Zuko alone.
I'm sorry, Raava.
This is a really jarring and almost funny cut. It's all like triumphant, I am the Avatar, I will accomplish my goals, I will be the bridge, I am a legend, into, I've been killed, Raava, I'm sorry.
We've been raising this herd of air bison since the 100-Year War.
Oh, okay.
But you do not have much time left. The harmonic convergence is only weeks away.
What the hell? How do you know about that? Were you watching too? So beginnings part 2. This is a weird dichotomy in my head for this episode. One side says, I think on its own, in a vacuum, it's a pretty great episode of TV. It's really interesting, that battle is awesome, the concepts are important, and the scale is huge. And Juan is an awesome lead. I like him a lot. But the other half of my brain says this two-parter really does a lot of things to the world that I'm not happy with. Themes and philosophies seem to miss entirely. Raava and Vaatu don't excite me in concept or in character. The spirits are dull. There's nearly no interesting questions raised from these episodes, only answers to questions I never asked in the first place. Ever since these episodes came out, I've gone back and forth on them. At first, I thought they were incredible, but then when I thought about them a bit deeper, I hated them. And then I kind of came back around on them and I thought they were fine, and then once again I flipped and thought they weren't very good at all. And I think that's an important thing to do when taking in medium, is realizing your opinion, like you as a person, is ever evolving and changing. And if it's not, I think you should open yourself up to it. I usually try to communicate what the broad quality is of each episode is, in my opinion, in these wrap-ups, from great to good to bad to awful. And these have to be the first episodes across both series where I have to say I still don't know how I feel about these ones even now. On one hand, really, really cool. On the other, some really big misses. And I don't know what that adds up to for me. Patreon shoutouts. If you want to see the next 2 episodes of Overanalyzing Korra ahead of the YouTube releases, you can support me on Patreon for just a few bucks. Link, as always, is in the description below the video. Biggest shoutouts of all go to my top patrons. There 50 Kobold, who learned some dead languages from a ghost, so now he's the top contender in a bunch of Scrabble categories. Laferg13, who saved a puppy from a burning building by simply pushing the building away from it. Lumina Invicta, who I saw open a sardine can by doing a kickflip with it. Lurfax1, who survived the guillotine by flipping over and catching it with his teeth. Matthew Lang, who donated $2 million to a children's hospital just on a dare. He did it by kicking in the front doors and shooting it all into the air with a cannon. One Leg Wonder, who can fuse any 2 animals so long as the animals have the same number of legs and they have a Yu-Gi-Oh! Polymerization card on hand. Potato Scream, who beat a silverback gorilla in wrestling. Okay, it was thumb wrestling, but come on, that's still pretty crazy. The former meaning of life, who caused an avalanche by cracking their knuckles so loudly before a fight on the slopes. The 1 AM party, who trained a beetle to do high-level reconnaissance, and is currently on its 2nd tour overseas. And Whitrow, who kills anyone with a wicked soul as soon as they enter the same room with him. Think it's a genetic thing, their grandma had it too, skips a generation. And of course, my other fuck you money patrons, A Stack of Pancakes, Aurora, Balm Your Candle, Ben Misera, Donut, Gene Cree, Liquor Cause I Know Her, MC Ren, Omega Fighter, Sean Martin, Tater of Tots, and That One Turian. And my god overanalyzers, 2 Boots Are Beat, Ang, Alan Garvin, Andrew Jacobson, Andrew Watchett, Aropataro, Billowing Mustache, Bob Deff, Chandler Crump, Charles the Fartbender, Kobe Smith, Deathly Healer, Dr. Xerox, Dominic Saint, Dricker, Emma Not Emma, Aaron Grace, Fire Lizard 44, I'm a Match, Jackson, Jeremy Rubenstein, John Ajaka, Justin Scott, Mac and Eligio, Medium D Speaks, Michael Fellon, Mitchell Gobrecht, Nick, Nicholas Abbott, Peter Bayron, Pogger White, Red Pyrobite, Reese, Rocket Mist, Ryan Gregorkos, Ryan Maxwell, Sandy Stormborn, Shane Antonacci, Silk Toast, Smarty Marty, Super Snipper, Thomas Barrett, Von Can't Spell, YouTube copyright sucks, take my money, and some sort of bareface IDK. Next up, back to the main cast.